UFC Paris performance rankings tier list. If you're new to these sort of videos, we do them every single week after a UFC fight night or a UFC pay-per-view. If you want, I can start doing them after Contender Series episodes. That's if you guys want to see it. But let me know in the comments what you thought of everybody's performances at UFC Paris. Without further ado, let's talk about the categories. So at the very, very top there, I have elite performance. If you had an elite performance, you beat a good level of competition, you looked exceptional, your performance was truly a standout, you will end up in elite performance. Good win, you performed well, some things you could have improved. It was a good win, you beat a good level of competition and you move forward in your career. Meh. You might have won, you might have lost just in a really close fight. You might have won but not looked that much impressive against not somebody that impressive. You're in trouble means you're not quite in cut that man, which I'll explain in a second. It's pretty obvious what that one means. But, you know, you really didn't put in a good performance. Maybe you lost quite badly and it's going to be a tough one moving forward in your career. And cut that man obviously means cut that man. Like, their time in the UFC is well and truly over. So without further ado, this just gives me a chance to review the whole card too, basically. So I'll be going through each and everybody's performance, talking about it. So Shauna Bannon, you're in trouble. Shauna Bannon, maybe you put her in meh, right? Maybe you would put Shauna Bannon in meh. Because at the end of the day, she has had a few wins in the UFC. She is marketable. She has a decent full guard, Shauna Bannon, but that's really it when it comes to the grappling. As soon as Sam Hughes started passing Shauna Bannon's full guard, it was really, really simple for Sam Hughes to pick up the win. Sam Hughes got a really good submission in this fight. I thought the driving the takedowns was really, really good. She's going to go into good win. It was a good win. Shauna Bannon, for me, was obviously not going to win this fight. I wouldn't put Sam Hughes' performance an elite win. That's not somebody who I see taking this win and going on an insane run. She just had a good win over Shauna Bannon. Shauna Bannon tried to come in this fight sticking behind a jab, sometimes looking to use those either lead round kicks to the head or lead side kick. She is good at leading off her front foot, but in the grappling department, again, apart from a tricky full guard where she can get an armbar or a triangle, she is really, really weak there, and Sam Hughes massively exposed her. To be honest with you, I think we all knew Sam Hughes was going to beat Shauna Bannon. Like, I had no doubt in my mind on my acca that Sam Hughes was going to beat Shauna Bannon, probably by submission too. So it went exactly how I expected it to go. Nothing insane from Sam Hughes. Just picked up a good win over Shauna Bannon there. And then we have, don't get me fucking started, right? I would crash out. I would, but it's still early in the morning. Andreas Gustafsson cost me my acca. This was the banker. This was the no-brainer. This was the one where you're like, yeah, Andreas Gustafsson will overwhelm Rinat Fakhretdinov. In my mind, I don't know why I picked Andreas Gustafsson, because he got his arse kicked, cut that man. And that might sound harsh. I don't give a shit. I honestly do not care. That was absolutely horrific. Horrific. His first few fights in the UFC, probably, they weren't even that entertaining anyway. He is a marauder. I thought he'd just maraud through Rinat, just like Carlos Leal did. But to be fair, Carlos Leal is on heaps of gear. So maybe I was a little bit too harsh on that Rinat performance. Like, Carlos Leal is so clearly on steroids. It's unbelievable. Whenever anybody asks me who is the most clearly on juice fighter that hasn't been caught yet in the UFC, I always say Carlos Leal, because it's just so obvious. But Rinat, he's going to go into good win because he was an underdog. It's not an elite performance. It is above Sam Hughes. It's not an elite performance by any stretch of the imagination. It is certainly a good win, though. Came in as an underdog. Andreas Gustafsson looked absolutely horrific. I don't know whether he's off certain substances or whatever it is, but his defence looked terrible. The form in his punches, he was literally just waving them out like a granny in a street fight. Cost me my acca. Extremely rattled over this I am. And as much as you might say, well, what, shouldn't you put him in, you're in trouble? No, cut that man. Honest to God, that was absolutely horrific to watch, and I could not believe that I picked this guy to beat Rinat Fakhretdinov. I am embarrassed, I am ashamed of myself, and shame on you for gaslighting me into picking him. It's your fault, actually. I don't know why it's your fault, but it is. But a good win from Rinat. Literally just stood his ground against Andreas Gustafsson and caught him once or twice, and that was the end of the fight. There is literally no point in giving Gustafsson another fight in the UFC, because everybody's now going to do that. If you stand your ground and land on him, you'll probably beat him. That's what Rinat showed. All you've got to do is stand your ground a bit, swing some looping hooks, Keep your punches straight at times. Mix it up with your combinations. Don't let him push you against the fence. And be well-rounded. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. So that is going to be a very big crash and burn for Andreas Gustafsson. Brad Tavares. You're in trouble. Look, Brad Tavares is tough. We know Brad Tavares. We like Brad Tavares. He's tough. You know, he gave Dricus du Plessis a good fight once upon a time. Brad Tavares is a tough guy, tough as nails. Nearly weathered the storm against Lucas Brycek. But Lucas Brycek's speed, his pressure, his momentum, his ability to cut off the octagon was ultimately far too much for Brad Tavares. He absolutely nearly smoked Brad Tavares in the first round. But like I said, Tavares is tough and he can weather the storm, keeping his guard tight. And just every time the referee's looking to step in, just throw one big hook, one big meaty hook, as Lucas Tracy would say. Just to say to the referee, I'm not quite there yet. In the second round, Brad Tavares pulled it back a little bit, but I felt like that was just because Lucas Brycek was sort of conserving his energy, sort of just waiting to get his moment back in the fight where he could catch Brad Tavares once again. And ultimately, man, Lucas Brycek, he had a really, really good win. It's not quite elite performance, but it was a good win again over Sam Hughes. I'd probably put him... No, Rinat came in as an underdog and got, you know, a big first round finish over Andreas Gustafsson. I'd put Lucas Brycek slightly below Rinat. Really good performance. Kind of gassed out Chase in the finish in the first. Head hunting a little bit. Did mix up to the body at times, but not to too much effect. Probably could have done it a bit more effectively. Again, it will just come with more experience in the UFC. Conserve your energy because not everyone you rock, not everyone you drop will go out of there. Brad Tavares is difficult to just blow out of the water like that. But as soon as he got a second wind, he blew Brad Tavares out of the water. And it was just only a matter of time. Brad Tavares really wasn't making any opportunities for himself. He was kind of just circling around on the back foot, trying to pick off with the occasional calf kicking shot. Just not enough. He was giving too much space for Brycek to get going. In the second round, really, you needed Tavares to get a takedown. You needed him to start pushing Brycek back if he was going to get the win here. So, difficult performance for Tavares. I'd say he's in a bit of trouble. Sam Patterson versus Trey Waters. Right, I'm going to put Trey Waters in You're in Trouble below Brad Tavares. And I'm going to put Sam Patterson in the top end of good win. What the fuck? Right, and by what the fuck, when you're wondering, what do I mean by what the fuck? What I mean is, who found this guy, Trey Waters? This man is 6'5", the same height as Tom Aspinall. He has a 77-inch reach, 2 inches shorter than Alex Pereira. How is this even possible? In this day and age in MMA, we have 6 foot flyweights. Right? 6 foot flyweights. We have 6'5" welterweights with 5 inches short of reach than John Jones. Daniel Cormier was 5'11" and had a 71-inch reach. And I know everybody's going to mention density and stuff like that in the comments. I already know all that stuff. Sometimes I just think it's crazy the amount of body types that are in MMA. Sam Patterson though, 6'3". He's not too shabby himself when it comes to height and reach. He knocked out Trey Waters. Honestly, I'm tempted to put Trey Waters and cut that man because really, he's probably only where he is because of how long he is. And it's such a difficult style to get past if you're a welterweight. There's some really short welterweights in the division too. So I think he could maybe beat some of those guys. I definitely wouldn't say I'd cut him just yet, although I was tempted to say it. You know, you have such a big advantage over everybody in that division. And ultimately, keeps his chin in the air, not the best head movement, mistimed his slips really badly against Sam Patterson. Sam Patterson's not quite going to go in elite performance because it wasn't. He got tagged up every so often by Trey Waters, but it was a really good KO, found the straight right hand really well. Trey Waters was really out of it on his feet, managed to stay on his feet to be fair to him, but yeah, couldn't defend himself intelligently. Referee had to step in. I just can't believe that this guy exists. The body types in MMA are fucking insane. You don't see it anywhere else. You won't see this shit in boxing. You won't see a welterweight that's 6'5" with a 77-inch reach in boxing anymore. I don't know how tall I don't know how tall, like, some of the old school boxers were, but when do you see that in any other combat sport? It's just bizarre. Harry Hardwick. This makes me sad. This is not something I want to do. I don't know if he's going to get another fight in the UFC. I don't know if it's just a one-fight deal. So, with that in mind, it is going to have to be cut, that man. I know George personally. I don't know him personally, but George knows me through TikTok. I know George through TikTok. I know Harry too. I don't know if Harry knows who I am, to be fair. Harry is a good fighter. Cage Warriors world champion. Came into the UFC on 5 days' notice. Upper weight class against Cowboy Fernandez. You could see the size difference immediately. The physicality difference immediately. The size of Cowboy Fernandez's legs was just insane compared to Harry Hardwick. But that being said, I have to be unbiased with my criticism here. When you go into the UFC, you've got to make a huge impression, right? If you're going to lose on 5 days' notice, you've got to hope like you're going to show something to the MMA fan base, to Dana White, to the UFC. If you're going to get absolutely sort of blown out the water, which is what happened to Harry Hardwick by Cowboy Fernandez, and it's only your one fight. If he's got another fight in the UFC, I put him in, you're in trouble. But I don't know if he does, so it's going to have to be cut, that man. Like, if you were the UFC, would you sign Harry Hardwick after that fight? You might not. You might not. Because, yes, he did you a favour by taking the fight on short notice. Yes, I do believe he has ability. I do think he's well-rounded, and I do think maybe he could make an impact on the featherweight division. But I don't know if he's quite ready for the UFC yet. I don't know if he's quite ready for the UFC yet. There was a lot of holes in his game. His ability to cut Cowboy Fernandez off straight away was night and day. The movement and the athleticism of Cowboy Fernandez looked much better than Harry straight away. Harry looked to find distance with his left hand and his left hook, but he ultimately couldn't. He couldn't find foot positioning with his lead foot too, I think he was a southpaw in this fight, or he was switching stances. Harry is well-rounded and he is good. I just don't know if he's quite ready. But then again, 5 days notice, upper weight class, it wasn't favourable for him. I didn't think Harry would get it done. But, you know, you want to see, if you're the UFC, you want to see promise in a fight. You want to see promise before you sign someone. And if I'm being absolutely unbiased, it wasn't quite there this time round. Cowboy Fernandez, he's going to go into bottom end of good win. It was a good win. He did exactly what he's supposed to do, probably above Sam Hughes, actually. Not above any of the other guys. Taunting Harry Hardwick. When he started taunting Harry Hardwick, I was like praying in that moment for a Harry Hardwick comeback win. God, I was pissed off with that. But it wasn't meant to be, man. It was literally impossible by that point, to be fair. Like, Harry Hardwick's, the damage to his lead leg was already done. It just wasn't possible. Cowboy Fernandez, much better movement. Much better fundamentals with his leg kicks. People forget, man, calf kicks. Joe Rogan would have had a field day with this one on his fight companion, no doubt about it. But yeah, Cowboy Fernandez, good win. Harry Hardwick, it's not quite enough. But if he gets another fight in the UFC, you'd probably stick him in, you're in trouble. I just don't know the details of his contract. Probably should have checked it before I made this video, right? But I didn't, so it is what it is. Marcin Tybura. So Marcin Tybura is going to go into meh. No, you're going to go in, you're in trouble. Bottom end of you're in trouble. Marcin Tybura's not quite in cut, that man, because you can give him, if you can, to a fresh contender, and maybe they can beat him. He is the king of the blobs. Sergey Spivak is the prince of the blobs. You know, they rule their realm really, really well. If you're a blob, you know, if you come in this fight any way equal to me, I'm going to rip your whole head off. Well, if you come into a fight any way equal blobby to Marcin Tybura, he'll rip your head clean off. But at the end of the day, we get to Ante Delia, Tom Aspinall's training partner. Obviously, he was emotional after his win. It was a good win by Delia. He looked really good. His hand speed looked really good. He is Tom Aspinall's training partner, so that is obviously going to create another cook dynamic in the UFC, I like to call them, where you have a dangerous contender that doesn't want to fight the champ because they're friends. So maybe one day that relationship will fall apart. I don't know. He actually looked really good. Hand speed was really good. Completely overwhelmed Marcin Tybura. It's like I said before, Tybura's the king of the blobs. Spivak's the prince. They rule their realm really, really well. But outside of that realm, they are peasants, so to speak. It's like literally ruling the Shire and then trying to rule Mordor. You know, you're not built for Mordor, little bro. Get back to the Shire. So Delia, He's going to go into Goodwin, top end of Goodwin. It's not quite elite. It's not quite elite, although he did beat a really good level of competition. I'd keep him just on the top end of Goodwin. Finally, a heavyweight contender that somewhat excites me. Brenton Ribeiro, cut that man. God. For his sake, cut that man. He can't take a punch. He can't. He gets rocked by jabs. There's no point. Like that, I'm being absolutely unbiased, honest with these takes. There's no point, right? All they do with Brenton Ribeiro is give him to an up-and-coming dangerous contender or / hometown favourite, and he just gets murked every single time. Like, maybe once every now and again, he'll get wild, he'll have a bit of a slugfest, and then get knocked out anyway. He's just not built for the UFC, man. He can't even take a punch. There's no point. Umar Sy. It's going to be slightly above Sam Hughes. Again, I didn't... It was a good performance, good takedowns, decent shot selection on the feet. I just knew that was what was going to happen. There's not really much point in, like, over sort of analysing this fight. It's like Brenton Ribeiro got KO'd again. Shocker. Who could have seen this coming? Everybody. You know what I mean? Like, there's not really much to talk about here. Brenton Ribeiro got KO'd. Is anybody surprised? Like, it's going to have to be cut that man for Ribeiro. They're just going to give him to dangerous contenders every single time. He's just basically a prospect's wet dream, essentially, is what Brenton Ribeiro is. If you're a prospect and you sign to fight him, you're probably rubbing your hands together. And look, whatever, like, durability Brenton Ribeiro used to have, it's gone. He can't take a shot anymore. He's getting wobbled by jabs off Umar Sy. And then Umar Sy decided to take him down. He probably could have just starched him on the feet, to be honest with you. Like, it's Brenton Ribeiro. Do you know what I mean? I feel bad for saying that, but it's true. William Gomis. So William Gomis was, it was tricky. I'd put him in meh. It could be good win. It could be good win. But I'd just about keep him in meh. He had a difficult performance against Robert Ruhala. You know, it was a pretty close fight. William Gomis' teep kicks were really good. His shot selection on the feet was really good. His actual takedown defence is much better than it used to be. William Gomis is really improving. The French hometown favourite, the crowd was really hostile to Robert Ruhala. And to be fair, William Gomis stole the first round pretty clearly. And Robert Ruhala managed to maraud / dog his way out and make the fight a little bit more even. Tried to get a couple of takedowns on Gomis. Got a few, but did no damage with them. It was just a damage-based scored fight. Both of them, you know, could have done a little bit better. I'd put Ruhala in meh too. Gomis top end of meh, not quite in good win. You know, it was pretty close. Both performed decently well. I thought they both could have done a lot better with the performances. Tricky for both of them. I can't put everybody in good win. We've got to start putting more people in meh. Axel Sola beat Rhys McKee. You know what it is with Rhys McKee? Rhys McKee does really well in fights, but he just falls short with his range and his distance. Axel Sola clearly landed the more damaging shots. I'm going to put him slightly below William Gomis, and I'm going to put Rhys McKee in You're in Trouble. He is in a bit of trouble, Rhys McKee. I think he won his last fight, so it kept him alive in the UFC. I wouldn't quite cut him yet. I still think there is a little bit there he has to offer. There's just a little bit there. Fell short with his range a few times against Axel Sola. Sola just landed the more damaging shots overall. The thing with Sola is... Sorry, the thing with Rhys McKee is... If Rhys McKee's in a competitive fight, he'll pretty much always lose because when it comes to damage, he's so easy to bust up and swell up. He's just got one of those faces. He just wears damage really badly in fights. It's kind of like Nate Diaz for a well-known example of being cut really easily in fights and stuff like that. He just gets cut, his lips busted, his nose broken, his eyes swollen up really easily in fights. So it doesn't help him against a Frenchman on a French card, let's just say. So even if this was a really close fight, I have no doubt about it, Rhys McKee wouldn't have got the decision. He's just got that kind of style and he wears damage that easily. Not really too much to talk about again though. Sola just did better than Rhys McKee in the exchanges, in the pocket exchanges. Landed a good few straight left hands from distance and ultimately won the fight. It wasn't too impressive from either of them. It got a bit scrappy at times. OK versus Mason Jones. Get straight up into good win, Mason Jones. Slightly above Sam Hughes. Not too comfortable for Mason Jones. It was a great comeback win. He is a savage. He has a granite chin. Orky gassed out. He had absolutely no, bottom game whatsoever. He just held on to Mason Jones, and Mason Jones found that hole and exploited it again in the second round with much more time to get the finish. OK really badly rocked Mason Jones in the first round, punched himself out, lack of experience, chasing his big moment, his big highlight reel. Mason Jones has been there in Cage Warriors, he's been there in the UFC, he's had a few difficult fights, and he stuck it out, he gritted it out, and he managed to put OK out of there. Good come from behind victory. It's an age-old lesson. Don't punch yourself out. Stay measured. Don't load up with shots. And Orky's really got to improve his bottom game, because that is going to be something many different people are going to expose in the future. He's not quite going to go into "you're in trouble," because at the end of the day, he could have won this fight if he just tuned up a few more things. In the first round, if he stayed a bit more measured, picked his shots a little bit more, just touched Mason Jones a little bit more, and set up the finish a bit better, and had a better bottom game, he could have won this fight. So, just punched himself out. That's lack of experience. Really good win from Mason Jones, man. Just dogged it out. Really good performance from him. Modestas Bukauskas, he's going to go into... He's going to go slightly above Rinat in good win. I might put Delia in elite performance, actually, because he beat a really good level of competition and looked really impressive. I might put Delia in elite performance. Modestas Bukauskas, he's going to go in good win, slightly below Sam Patterson, because Sam Patterson beat Trey Waters, and what the hell is Trey Waters' build? Insane. Modestas Bukauskas looked really good. His level changes and his feints look better than before. His actual athleticism, training with Tom Aspinall and training with these guys, seems to have improved so much. He looks a lot stronger in there than he used to. Paul Craig, look, there's a reality around Paul Craig. Before he put the gloves down in the octagon, I literally wrote in my notes, it's time. As in, it's time, Paul Craig. I love Paul Craig. I'm a fan of his. It's the same thing every single fight. And he's getting older, so he's getting worse at it. Paul Craig has an elite level full guard. Got finished from there. Tried to pull guard. Modestas Bukauskas just battered him from there. So that's kind of he's losing that ability. He has pulled off some insane wins. But as much as they weren't lucky and Paul Craig set them up like with Ankalaev or Jamal Hill, how many times is Paul Craig going to get pummeled, come from behind, find a triangle or an armbar, and everyone's like, Paul Craig did it again? There's only so many times you can do that before your style A gets fully figured out, B, you get too old to use it, and C, you're just too old. Paul Craig's ability is gone, pretty much, in my opinion. Tried to clinch up with Modestas, tried to get some trips, couldn't find them. Again, too slow with his entries. No head movement. It's just Paul Craig striking in a nutshell, backing up in straight lines, keeping his chin in the air. No head movement whatsoever. His durability is massively gone. It was a brutal KO. I'm going to put actually Modestas at the top end of good win because it was so brutal. The sound of that elbow literally sounded like it broke Paul Craig's skull. It was a really good performance from Modestas Bukauskas. Not quite an elite win because, again, you sort of expected him to do it. But, to be fair, it was brutal knockout. For me, knockout of the night, no doubt about it. Insane finish. Modestas, good win. Paul Craig's retired. Congratulations on a good career, Paul Craig. You'll never see this video, but shout out to Paul Craig. He's been around for a long time. Pulled off some insane submissions, but his luck's kind of run out at this point, and I'm glad he's decided to hang them up because that was a bad one, and he keeps getting KO'd lately. It's not a good look. Benoit Saint-Denis. Wow. It's going to be elite performance above Ante Delia. What a performance by Benoit Saint-Denis. He regained most of his aura from this win. This Benoit Saint-Denis looks a lot better than the Benoit Saint-Denis that fought Dustin Poirier, who had a really bad staph infection and wasted his energy trying to get the first round finish. Against Moicano, he didn't look confident whatsoever, and he didn't even look that good with his grappling. His grappling looked much better, much improved. His top control, his actual positioning looked much better in his last 2 fights, but I expected Mauricio Ruffi to blow Benoit Saint-Denis out of the water. Saint-Denis' actual high kick from southpaw into a double leg showed a tremendous amount of athleticism. Saint-Denis looks fresher at the moment. He looks much more energised athletically and much more confident. He came in with a point to prove. I have to say, Mauricio Ruffi, you're in trouble. It's not like he's close to being cut from the UFC. So, look, Mauricio Ruffi's not in danger of being cut from the UFC or anything. I, like many people, was ready to say that Mauricio Ruffi was Ilia Toporia's hardest matchup from a striking point of view. And I still think, from a striking point of view, Mauricio Ruffi is excellent. He has awful fight IQ. He showed it in this fight. That's bad fight IQ. He had 2 chances to steal rounds off Benoit Saint-Denis. In the first round, all he had to do was maintain top control and find some good ground and pound, and he could have still stole the first round off Benoit Saint-Denis. But he decided to try and get up and what? Aura farm? All that did was show Benoit Saint-Denis that Ruffi didn't want to engage in the grappling with him. It showed Benoit Saint-Denis Ruffi was uncomfortable there. And it allowed Benoit Saint-Denis to just keep using volume. We see it time and time again. The way to beat these snipers who rely on one big shot at a time is use volume, aggressive entries, trust yourself a little bit, and constantly go for takedowns. And they don't want to engage with you there. But Mauricio Ruffi had 2 chances to steal this fight back for himself. And I don't know what to say. I am disappointed in him. You know, I expected so much more from Mauricio Ruffi. You hear about him in camp, how he's the best fighting nerd. He's the fighting nerd with the most skill, the best grappling, the best striking. He has got elite level striking. I have no doubt about it. But he almost fought this fight like he didn't expect it to be competitive at all. You know, you have to prepare for the best version of Benoit Saint-Denis. It's okay for us fans to expect Mauricio Ruffi to blow him out the water, but it's almost like Ruffi didn't expect Saint-Denis to even be remotely competitive with him. It's like he was shocked when Saint-Denis started landing the high kick up top and then coming down with a double leg. It's like he was shocked by the strength and the speed of Benoit Saint-Denis. And to be fair, I was, but I'm a fan of the sport. Ruffi's got to prepare for the best version of Benoit. And it's like, as soon as Benoit put it on him a bit, Ruffi just kind of came apart. It's like Carlos Pratas against Ian Gary, just inactive with his shot selection, nearly did land a big flying knee, relying too much on one big shot, not creating any opportunities for himself, showing bad fight IQ, not taking advantage of the grappling. This could happen with Gene Silva against Diego Lopez too. The fighting nerds may come to a big crash at the end of next week. That fighting nerds hype might end as quick as it started. No word of a lie. I think Mauricio Ruffi could be back, but Ruffi, let's put it this way. Paddy Pimblett has elite level grappling. I have no doubt he could easily submit Mauricio Ruffi or take him down and get the better of him there. Imagine if Gamrot got a hold of Ruffi. Ilia has elite level grappling. Oliveira, elite level grappling. Moicano, elite level grappling. Dariush, elite level grappling. Benoit Saint-Denis, good level grappling. These are 8 guys in the division that now know that's a huge hole in Mauricio Ruffi's game. He's got to tighten up, but that, to me, not taking advantage of your reversals and stuff like that shows bad fight IQ, in my opinion. It does. You've got to be well-rounded in the lightweight division. Long gone are the days where you're just a striker. Ilia Topuria might struggle with Mauricio Ruffi in the striking department, but guess what he has? Elite-level jiu-jitsu. That's what he has as a backup to go to if you're getting the better of him on the feet. That's what people forget. That's why I never quite jumped in on the Mauricio Ruffi beats Ilia Topuria hype train, because I needed to see that grappling first. Thank God he wasn't in there with a Gamrot, because he would have got tossed around, literally, thrown around at will. Thank God he wasn't in there against an Arman. He would have got thrown around at will. Paddy would have probably submitted him. You know, not a good look for Ruffi. Not a good look whatsoever. And man, a lot of people will take confidence from that fight in the future when it comes to fighting him. Yeah, Benoit Saint-Denis, though, he did what he had to do to win. Shocked, upset, incredible performance from Benoit Saint-Denis. Basically flawless, nearly walked into a flying knee, but you're going to, against Mauricio Ruffi, he's going to time a big shot every so often. Really good performance from Benoit Saint-Denis. He's regained his confidence and his aggression and his entries. He looked really, really good. Caio Borralho, he's going to go into You're in Trouble too. Again, not that... actually, he's going to go into meh. He's going to go into meh. Look, it wasn't completely awful from Caio. Sean Strickland put out a tweet saying that what was Caio thinking weighing in twice within space of 3 weeks? I think that's excuses. I don't like to make excuses for guys. At the end of the day, you're in charge of your own career. You know your own body. That's his fault for doing it if it did affect his performance. I don't think Caio looked better than he's ever looked before or worse than he's ever looked before. I don't think he looked washed. His durability was fine. He could not keep up with Imovov's speed and his timing, and I predicted Imavov would beat Caio pretty comfortably. I had the fight 50-45. At a minimum, could see 49-46. At the end of the day, I think Imavov pretty much controlled the pace throughout most of this fight. Round 3, I could argue maybe Caio won that round. Decent low calf kicks, landed some decent jabs. He didn't go to the jab enough in this fight, in my opinion, because whenever he was throwing it, it was landing. But Imavov kind of just... It was hard for Caio to gauge Imavov's in and out movement. There was a clear difference in fundamental movement moving in and out. Imavov's teep kicks and his side kicks and his little push kicks off his lead leg were working really, really well. That kept Caio at bay. Imavov taking the front foot shows how much of an intelligent fighter Imavov is too at this stage of his career. He's so underrated, Nassourdine Imavov. This is what I say to everyone. Everybody holds the Sean Strickland fight over him because Sean Strickland basically outstruck him, outgrappled him, had too much output and cardio for him, kind of broke Nassourdine Imavov in that fight a little bit. Right? Didn't break him. Imavov still stuck in there and won the last round, but people hold that Sean Strickland fight against Imavov. He's improved from a cardio point of view, from a composure point of view, from an everything point of view. He's not the same fighter he was back then. I predicted him to TKO Israel Adesanya, and he did. I predicted him to win this fight by decision, and he did. I don't know if he was the underdog or the favourite going in there. It's going to be slightly below Benoit Saint-Denis because it wasn't as much of a shock factor for me, but... Fantastic performance from Nassourdine Imavov. Fantastic performance. He's so underrated in this division, and hopefully now he gets his respect. I don't think the two weigh-ins had that much of an effect on Caio. Again, I don't think he looked worse or better than he usually is. Just couldn't keep up on a technical level with Imavov. Imavov's a very good striker, very well-rounded. Taking the front foot, forced Caio to panic shoot on him. Really good performance from Nassourdine Imavov. And that is it, people. I'll zoom out for you there. That is the tier list. It's a big, long one today. It was a long card yesterday. I had good fun watching it. I'd give the card a 9 out of 10. I had really, really good time watching that card. Let me know what you thought of each and everybody's performance in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, guys. I shall see you all next time. Adios. Goodbye.